Welcome to CIS 150 Deliverable Project 1. Okay, so first thing we need to do is get into Blackboard, go to the content page, and you'll need your book open to page 29, and we're doing exercise 15. All right, CIS 150 videos and assignments, and it's going to be Deliverable Project videos. I currently don't have one up here because I'm about to make one, so that's what we're going to be doing. But you'll notice up here I do have Deliverable Project 1 XML, and there's a draw IO that we're going to be going to do this work. That'll be what you deliver to me. You'll deliver to me the XML, completed XML. I've got a basic one that we're going to upload here in just a minute. Now what you'll want to do is save this link to your computer somewhere. And basically, if you look at it, it's just XML, which doesn't mean a whole lot in this form. But you can right click on it, save link as, if you're using Google, and just save it to your jump drive or to your hard drive. All right, so let's go ahead and open up Draw IO. Get rid of this. This is just a website. It's a free website for creating flowcharts and such. So we want to go to open existing diagram. Now, you saved this somewhere to your device, I hope, and here it is. Here's mine, Deliverable Project 1 XML. So that's what we want to open. And I've already given you two tabs down here, so I've done some of the work for you. This is going to be our flowchart, and this will be our pseudocode. Now, let's do the pseudocode first, because you're going to need that to do your flowchart. So we need to look at the problem now and start trying to analyze it into input, processing, and output. So if you look at exercise 15 on page 29, the text, it says develop the logic of a program that allows a user to enter his or her hourly pay rate. Now this is input coming from the user, okay? Hourly pay rate, the number of hours worked this pay period, and the percentage of gross salary that is withheld. The program multiplies the hourly pay rate by the number of hours worked. Now those are two input variables, or data that is stored in our variables that was taken from the user's input, hourly rate and hours worked, giving gross pay. Well, there's another variable we need, gross pay. Then it multiplies the gross pay by the withholding percentage, giving the withholding amount. Well, there's another variable we need. So every time you calculate something or get some input, whatever it is, you got to have somewhere to put it. And they're even telling us what to call these pretty much. Finally, it subtracts the withholding amount from the gross pay, giving the net pay after taxes. The program displays the net pay. Well, that's your output. Well, this is your take-home pay after they take everything out, FICA, taxes, Social Security, and all that. All right, notice here that if you double-click on this, you can kind of get into edit mode, and I've already got you set up here. And these little comments break it up for us. So under input, just space over 3 spaces. And we're going to need, according to the text, hourly rate. And all these are of type numeric. Now remember, numeric, num, has nothing to do with the name of the variable. That's just the type. That's basically you have to tell the compiler what data type that the name following it is going to need. Now, sometimes this thing gets a little funky as far as getting your cursor back where you want it to go, so you just have to play around, but you can do it. Initialize it to 0, 3 spaces over. Next one is numeric. And what does the text say? Hours worked. Now, you can call these whatever you want. I'm just going by what the text is giving us already. Don't worry about the red underlines. It's trying to do spell check. We're not worried about that. But remember that variables are case specific. So if you call it, if you name this correctly, hourly rate with an uppercase R, you're going to have that same variable name everywhere throughout the program, or you're going to have a problem. So you have to be careful about that. The third input is withholding percentage. Remember camel casing. Remember to initialize everything. Next, they're all numeric, so the next one is calculated variable or value called gross pay. And that's going to be initialized to 0. Withholding amount. Initialized to 0. And finally, net pay of type numeric. All right. So it looks like we have 6 variables. And every one of those is given to you in the verbiage, the description of the problem. Okay. So sometimes you have to go through and read this a couple times. They're telling you what to get as input, what the processing is going to be, and even telling you what the formulas are, and then what the output is going to be. They've already given us all that. All right, as part of the input statement, we need an input statement, or the input section. Input, again, this is pseudocode, so you can kind of do whatever you want here, kind of within limits. What are we getting as input from the user? Hourly rate, hours worked, and percentage gross salary. So that's the first 3 variables, hourly rate. And you can do all this on one line in pseudocode and flowcharts if you want to. Hourly rate, make sure the spelling is correct. Watch me mess up. Hours worked, I'm going to go up here and grab it, paste it, and withholding percentage. That's what you're getting from the user, okay? All right, here's one of those areas where it's not behaving properly, so just if it selects it all, just use your up and down arrow key to get where you want to be, and it'll put you there. All right, that's the end of our input section. We've got the 3 things we need. Now for processing, we've got to calculate the gross pay. And what does it say about gross pay? It says the program multiplies the hourly rate by the number of hours worked, giving gross pay. Well, we need to assign that calculated value into the memory location pointed to by the variable name. What's that called? It's called an assignment operation. So gross pay assignment operator. And how do we calculate that? Well, we pull out what's in hourly rate and multiply that by hours worked. So you can come here and grab that, paste it there, multiply, which is the asterisk or the star for multiplication. And there's hours worked. All right. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Maybe it'll help some. It's probably hard to see. There we go. That's much better. Okay, then we got to calculate the withholding amount. It says then it multiplies gross pay by withholding percentage, giving withholding amount. So that's another calculated. So the first 3 are input, the second 3 are calculated. So it's gross pay times what? Withholding percentage? Yeah, withholding percentage. I copy and paste so I won't misspell anything. It's a little easier that way. And finally, we're doing net pay, I believe it says. It subtracts the withholding amount from the gross pay, giving net pay. So net pay equals what? All right, what did it say? Subtract the withholding amount from the gross pay. Some people get this backwards. So if you're going to subtract it from the gross pay has to go first. Withholding amount. Now we have what? We have the processing. What's left? Output. All that we're outputting here is net pay. Whoops. So if I were to say I work 40 hours at a, get my calculator out here, you might want to do the same thing. Let's run some numbers through this. Okay, let's see. We got 40 hours times hourly rate, let's say 10 bucks an hour, that's 400 bucks, okay? And let's say that withholding percentage is 10%, so times 0.1, that's $40. Okay, that's the withholding amount. And so we're going to subtract gross pay 400 minus 40. So we should make 360 bucks. That's not much of withholding, is it? All right, so there you go. So we're going to use 40 hours, $10 an hour, and 0.1 or 10% for the percentage. That's what we'll use. All right, so let's say unsave changes. Click here to save. It'll just stick it down here, and you'll have to save that somewhere on your computer. All right, so that gets the pseudocode. Alrighty, now let's go do the flow chart. I've already given you a start and stop lozenge, they call these. So the next thing we want to do is grab some text over here. There's not a really good convenient way to do this in most of these programs, so it's usually just a little tack on thing that they have you do. So let's go back over here and let's grab, whoops, this. Now you're going to get some extra spaces in there. You'll have to take those out because we have to space over in here to make it readable. Just go to flow chart, double click on this, and let's go. It's already left aligned, but if it's not, if it's centered, you want to left align everything. All right, let's stretch this out just a little bit. Now we got to take spaces out. So there's one there. Yeah, there's 3 typically because that's what we put in. Just to be sure we get it to where it's looking good. And there are our declarations. All right, and of course we can put a little leader on here somewhere at some point to point to our connectors, which we'll do in a little bit. Let's see. There we go. All right, so what's the next thing here? We got to go to our pseudocode, and we have an input statement. Now, remember in pseudocode, input and output is a parallelogram. Okay, so let's just drag one of those over there. Now, we're going to have to stretch this thing out and make it a little bit smaller. You can do it that way, however you want to do it. And let's grab our input statement here. Okay. Go back to flowchart tab, paste it, left align it, and let's see what we can do with this. There we go. You can put it on more than one line. I mean, I just did that so you could see everything. All right, so let's push this up a little bit. Now, they're automatic connectors. If you click on the top object, you see the down arrow. Well, sometimes it doesn't behave the way you want it to, so I'm going to stretch this down a little bit. There we go. You can stretch anything around, shrink it up, whatever you want to do. So there we go. Now, this can be pointed over to here. All right, so save it again. So we got our input section is complete. So now what do we want to do? Let's go to our pseudocode. We need processing. Well, processing is just rectangles. Okay, so grab one of those. You need 3 of those because there's 3 processes. You don't want to put those in the same one. You want separate ones for that. All right, so let's go back to pseudocode. Now you see why I do the pseudocode first, I think. All right, so there's that one because you're going to have it anyway. Might as well go ahead and do it first. There's that. Make that a little thinner, I guess. Connect it. Whoa, I need to move that over, I guess. Nope. Where's the center at? Well, sometimes, look at that. I didn't want to do that. Rotate back. How do I rotate it back? Oh, well, goodness me. I'll just do it, delete it, do it again. Sometimes these things can be real picky. And I was clumsy and did the wrong thing. So let's try it again. I didn't want to rotate it, but I wound up doing that anyway. That's what I want to do right there. Okay, grab it again. All right, you're going to be picky on me again, so I have to use my up arrow. Maybe you can figure this out better than me. You won't be doing this very much, so it doesn't really matter. They're all different anyway. Bunch of different ones out there. This one's free, that's why we use it. All right, so let's try it again. Use your little connector. There, we got it. And we need 3 more of these, 2 more, excuse me. So I'm going to copy and paste, line it up, copy and paste, line it up. I'm just copying and pasting these objects. Just drag individual ones over if you want. All right, so let's go ahead and get our pseudocode for the withholding amount. There's that one. That one needs to be a little bit wider, I guess. Look at that. See, I just got a little sloppy with my mouse and it starts assuming all sorts of things. Some of them are so smart they're stupid. Okay. All right. It just makes assumptions on what you're doing, trying to make a decision about what you want, and it really doesn't know what you want. Sorry about that. All right, let's do this. There's net pay. Okay. Let's go ahead and click these and join them together with our connectors. And these are sequence connectors. In other words, you do this, then you do this, then you do that, and you do that, and you do that. So we're learning the first of the three principles of structured programming: sequence, selection, and decision making. This is strictly sequence, one thing after another. Thank you. Okay, so the only thing left then is our output. Again, it's a parallelogram, so I'm just going to copy and paste this one. Move it down here. It's not need to be that big, obviously. Come on. Oop, there it goes. This thing's really picky today. And net pay is what we're outputting. Now, we're not doing any kind of prompts or anything. This is just a logical design. It's not how you do something, it's what you need to do and what order you need to do it in. I don't know why it does that. Probably because this is too far away or something. There we go. So there's everything. We've got our input, our processing, and our output. Okay? So we got our pseudocode and our flowchart. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, let's save this and close. Close this, do it one more time. Whoops. I'm going to do an export again just for the heck of it, or just save as. All right, there it is. So I want to save it as the default name back to my device, and it might put it in the correct place and it might not. Mine didn't, it put it somewhere else. So you'll need to go grab it, go to the folder that it's in, and put it wherever you put yours to start with. Make sure you get the correct one that you just worked on, okay? If you're not sure, you can always open it again. I'm going to delete mine here and make sure that I paste it. Whoops, that didn't work. Try it again. Open it, show in folder, copy, and then go back over here and paste. Hopefully you've got the, the computer skills needed to do this. It's basic stuff. It's not, I'm not trying to insult you, but it's some people don't follow the copy paste very well because they hadn't had 146 or whatever, but not that big a deal. There it is. I'm going to take that 4 off of there. That's just the number of times I did this. Now, this XML file is what you're going to deliver to me. So you can close this out and open it back up again if you're not sure about it, right? So what you can do is go here again, open an existing diagram. There's mine, the one I just see the date and the time. And there it is. Yours should have all this in it. If it doesn't, then you don't have what you just worked on. So you need to try to figure that out. Make sure you submit that through Blackboard. To submit it, you just click right here to submit it. And then you browse your computer wherever you decide to put it. There's mine. That attaches it to the page. And then you hit submit. Now it's not going to let me do that because I'm an instructor. I don't really have a grade book. And once you do that, it'll be set there for grading, and I'll open it up and check it for you. Alrighty. Well, hope that helps, and I'll see you on the next one.